Hello, Virgo. Welcome to your reading for the month of March 2022. This reading is intended for Virgo Sun and Rising. Virgo Moons may also find messages here, so you may want to watch as well. Cross watchers are always welcome. If you haven't watched the collective reading, I recommend you do that. I go deeper into the energy of the collective card in that video, which is the Hermit, which is your card, Virgo. And this video is meant to zero in on how that energy shows up and is supposed to be focused on specifically for you. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on this video. It lets YouTube know that you think my content is valuable and that you want to see more of it. So without further ado, let's jump into the reading. So before I pull your focus card, what we're going to do is I am going to shuffle up, mix up some astro dice, and we're going to look at what house, what sign, and what planet might be prominent for my Virgos this month. So let's go ahead and give them a good mix. All right. Just like Leo, you guys got your own sign. Okay, so Virgo, your own sign is very important for you this month, as well as the fact that the collective card is the Hermit, which is ruled by Virgo. So that is very on point for you. And being that this is, March, where we're ringing it in Pisces season, the opposite sign to you, it's going to be, a navigation of opposites, truly. And then we have the 11th house here. So you may want to pay attention to any activity that's going on in your 11th house, what planets that you have natally in your 11th house, or what transits are happening, as well as what house Virgo is for you. If you're not a Virgo rising, like if you're a Virgo sun or Virgo moon, then your house placements for Virgo may be different. And then as well, we have the moon that is very prominent. So, what lunations are going to be very important for you this month. We're going to have a Pisces new moon and a Virgo full moon. So that is very important for you. That's a moon that's going to be in your sign and then in your opposite sign. These only happen every 6 months. The next, ones that will be prominent for you will be when the sun is in Virgo. So you'll have a Virgo new moon and a Pisces full moon. So that is something that, is very specific to you, because this is a general reading, but your natal chart is as, specific as your, as original as your fingerprints, as unique. So that's, the transits are not going to apply to the next Virgo in the same way as it would to you. And the subtle ways that these dice, color the reading might make it a little bit more personal to you. So really, look that up in the description box. If you don't have your birth chart, I have links for that. But if we're reading this as divination, if we're putting all these three together, it's like, Virgo, you're focused really on details this month, and that's something that, is really natural to you. And you could be really focused on, getting back to self, with this Hermit energy, where all of us as a collective are kind of really meant to be in, in solitude, in some kind of, reflective environment, and thinking about this past, and I'm really getting the feeling of this past few months, where the Venus retrograde happened and Mercury retrograde happened. We're just coming out of the post shadows, so this has been a really long time, for including the pre-shadow periods, where these energies have really been present for us, these two personal planets, planet of communication, planet of values and relationships. So the Hermit is really meant to be a period of, solitude and reflection. And that doesn't mean isolation necessarily. Like, you don't have to close yourself off to everyone, especially with the 11th house present here. The 11th house is the house of hopes and wishes, also, communities and groups. So, I can see a lot of connection here. And with the moon, it's really important for you to dig into, your instinctive feelings, and then, connect with groups that really have a strong, emotional resonance for you, things that you care about. Not just, any random thing for you to join and be a part of. It's meant to be very, heart-centered, and it might be some intuitive work that you're doing in certain groups, or it could be emotional, work, but it's meant to be done and shared with this 11th house energy. And it could be something that's very, practical in nature, because you are practical, Virgo. And, being that we're in Pisces season where things are very, foggy, and it's very opposite to you, it could be very helpful to kind of have a coming together of like minds for you, to maybe even just commiserate, or, just even if you're just having a bitch fest, is something that I'm hearing. Like, it doesn't have to be hippy dippy happy all the time. Like, there can be some really serious stuff that you want to talk about or get off of your chest, that you have kind of had realizations about, or it could be light and fun. It really just depends. So I'm going to go ahead and move that off to the side, and I'm going to pull your focus card. And I'm doing focus cards a little bit differently from now on. Rather than doing any reversals, I'm going to treat them just like your own personal collective card, and they will always be in the upright. So that was too many cards. One focus card for Virgo. Okay. Sorry, that Nine of Pentacles is really standing out to me. Let me see what else we have here. The Ace of Swords in reverse. I feel like the Ace of Swords in reverse is just giving me a little bit more information. I'm only going to take the Nine of Pentacles, and I think that this card is a Virgo card, if I'm not mistaken. So really, you're showing up a lot here. God, I wish I'm recording on my phone. I wish I could look up what planet, what the astrology is for this, but I think, the Eight of Pentacles, I think this is Venus in Virgo. So it really is about what you value, Virgo. So this really could be related to, assessing what went on during this Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde period, but especially Venus retrograde. And, if you can look up the dates for when Venus made contacts with Pluto, that might really be something that would give you good information. And then as well, I'm looking at the moon, like if during the time that Venus retrograded and made any contacts with your natal moon, that would be something that could be particularly important for you. But this really speaks to you being, reflecting on the ways that you have grown, and really built a life for yourself, and you did it for yourself, and that you value, what you value about yourself is that, you can remain grounded, in a lot of kinds of difficult situations. But it's like getting from the Ace to the Nine, it's like you've been given, a gift of, planting a seed, and I'm getting kind of an intuitive sense of, it was a seed of something ambitious that you wanted to grow. And this Nine of Pentacles is showing up to say, you did do it. You really have taken the steps to make it happen. And this is kind of the satisfaction that comes from being truly proud of yourself. She's in a garden that is hers. She's surrounded by pentacles. She has this bird that's, a symbol of freedom. It's like, the hard work that you've put in has bestowed upon you a sense of personal freedom. And with this Hermit here, it's like the wisdom that you've gained along this journey. And it doesn't feel like a fast journey. Pentacles are slow. It's taken a long time and a lot of hard work. The wisdom you've gained is invaluable. And maybe this 11th house here is like sharing that with other people. Because in the 9, we're really solitary, right? She's by herself. This isn't the 10 of Pentacles where, there's like leaving a legacy behind us, for other people, or truly harvesting. It's like we're still working and building towards something. So it may be, that in this period of reflection, you're thinking like, how do I, expand this into like a group effort? What I've built so far, taking it to the next level is what I'm really feeling, and how much emotional fulfillment that will bring to you. But doing it in a very practical way, of course. So let me go ahead and pull an oracle card that will give us information about how our guides, want you, Virgo, to navigate these two energies together of the Hermit and 9 of Pentacles. And you got authority, okay? And this is a 10. The frequency of authority reminds us that true authority is powerful, directed, and realized, yet receptive, wise, and loving. Okay, powerful, directed, and realized. What did I say? Like, you took the bull by the horns. You really, brought something, that was in the ether, like a gift from the universe, and pulled it down to earth. This green, this is earth energy. It's also heart chakra energy. And solar plexus has to do with our personal freedom. But, remaining receptive, wise, and loving, that really speaks to moon energy. And then, that wisdom is literally the Hermit, but, being loving can also, a way to show our love is by expanding and sharing, what it is that we have beyond ourselves. We're not meant to keep everything, that we have to ourselves, especially if it is, we're moving towards a more of a, less self-centered, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but more of a community-centered world. If we're meant to be a true global community, and serve the collective, but it's from a place of authority, because you have learned, and worked hard to build what you have. It's not that, you don't have the say of, it's not like you have to be above people, but you have a unique voice and you have command. So you don't have to have power over people, because your power really is like internal, which is something else that the moon is, signifies, is our instinctual selves. Like, if your power is internal, and you don't have to constantly question whether or not you're powerful, you don't have to lord it over other people. And that's something that I'm seeing as well with the Hermit, this wisdom energy and the 9 of Pentacles. So loving that. And then as well, this is card 10, and that relates to the Wheel of Fortune in the Major Arcana, which talks about being able to stay in your center, whether or not the wheel is turning in your favor. Because I really got the sense that, things weren't always easy. The journey of the Pentacles are not easy. There's Saturn lessons in that. In Jupiter, people always think, when the planet of luck is involved, that it's good luck, but people can have runs of bad luck too. And the lesson is just to learn how to, be, in authority, of yourself, if that makes sense. I'm searching for the word, like, have command of yourself, no matter what situation that you're in. And that doesn't mean that you do it perfectly every time, but it just means to be able to stay grounded and centered. And you're an earth sign, and this really speaks to being grounded. So we're going to pull some chakra cards before we get into your tarot spread, just to give us a little bit more information. And okay, Leo got this card too. Sexual energy. Okay, so I get the sense that, with this moon energy, it also speaks to, our instinctual wild selves, that there might be, some call to, in this Hermit mode where, you know, you're spending time in quiet reflection to really get in touch with your sacred sexuality. You know, and that could be, you know, just, you know, being with yourself and, you know, getting into your body and feeling the sensation. It doesn't necessarily have to be sex with other people. It could be, you know, if you feel like that's something that's lacking in your life. But it could also be, you know, with yourself, you know, just connecting with yourself. Like how many times, you know, with this Nine of Pentacles, you know, this person in the card is by themselves. Like, do, you know, we kind of disconnect from, you know, loving ourselves? And there are so many ways we can show ourselves love, if you get my meaning. You know, but maybe activating more of that sacral chakra by, you know, giving yourself some more of that kind of tending, like awakening some of that sexuality. And it could be healing some of those wounds. Because let's see, if we're looking at Virgo, your 11th house would be, see, your 12th house is Leo, if I'm correct. And then your 11th house is Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. So, you know, and that relates to your upbringing. You know, what ways could some of the messages from your upbringing look? Two of these pentacles are, you know, more orange in color. That could signify, you know, parents or caregivers have colored your idea of sexuality and what that means for you. You know, what is good or bad, you know, but kind of freeing yourself, you know, and being your own authority on what kind of sex is, you know, safe and feels good to you. So that's something that, a message I'm getting pretty clearly. And then also here we have psychic abilities. Okay, so really opening up, you know, with this moon energy, and look how, you know, this 11th house energy, opening up to the collective conscious, you know, because the 11th house is the house of the collective conscious, that you really could be tapping into other people's energy with this, you know, with the moon being prominent, you know, and having, you know, real psychic connections where it's like you meet someone and it's almost like you don't even have to speak, you know, with words to understand them on a different level. So that's really interesting. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to pull your first tarot card of where you are at the start of the month, Virgo. Okay, one card. Let's see, we got two, so let's, okay, well, two majors, and I'm feeling the energy coming off of them. So you got the Magician in reverse and Temperance. So this really is some blending, you know, of these energies. And look how they look at this. Look at this orange energy and this like ball of fire. And then how this, I mean, this looks like the moon possibly, and how it's similar in color, like the rays coming off of it, you know, to the psychic abilities card. It really does speak to alchemy and balance and, you know, divine guidance that you are getting this month, and really learning how to be in flow. That's something that I'm getting for a lot of you. It's like, you know, with this Nine of Pentacles energy, you're rooted and grounded and feeling a sense of authority, you know, being receptive, wise, and loving, like you're really stepping into your power. And with this Magician in reverse, it's like, almost like it's a reminder with it being in reverse, because this is Gemini, also a card, you know, I mean, I'm sorry, this is the Magician, also a Mercury card. It's ruled, you know, by Mercury, which is your ruling planet. That, you know, you have these two really, you know, this life force energy of fire, and then this intuitive, you know, water, you know, energy coming from the moon, you know, and this divine angel that is saying, like, let me in. You know, it could be your guides, your higher self, you know, communicating with you and asking you to, you know, lean on them, for more divine guidance. And this, Magician in reverse is saying too, that you're very powerful and that you can be receptive to the messages, but just make sure that you're listening, right? Because Mercury rules communication. And with the Psychic Abilities card, you might be receiving lots of messages from like angelic guidance is what I'm seeing. But there might be a tendency, because Virgo, you're very practical, that you might ignore it or go, no, did I really hear what I thought I heard? Or is this message, is this something that like is it all in my head? Is the feeling that I'm getting? But what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull a clarifier for these two cards. But I really do feel like, okay, the High Priestess, look at this. Okay, so it's like you're very, very in tune in this Pisces energy, like in the month of March, getting lots of guidance from everybody, okay, like ancestral guidance, higher self guidance, angelic guidance. Your spirit team is going to be communicating with you, but it's like, will you listen? Because the High Priestess also deals with mysteries. And look, the moon is prominent in this card. It's ruled by the moon. You got the moon in these dice. Are you going to be listening? Because there are a lot of things that Spirit is trying to unlock for you this month, with this Pisces energy. So that's really amazing, Virgo. Pay attention, maybe get some crystals out, I'm seeing some purple, get some amethyst. It really, relates to the crown chakra and the third eye chakra as well. I think maybe some lapis lazuli. I have a hard time saying that without getting tongue tied. But yeah, any of that. And then selenite as well, because that corresponds with the moon. Yeah, so I'm going to say definitely selenite and amethyst would be good, because I'm seeing lots of purple and then moon energy. So this card represents a challenge that may arise for you. Sorry, my kitty cat's like shed hair everywhere this month. So your challenge is the Four of Pentacles in reverse. And I cannot remember what sign also got this as the challenge, but this feels very clear to me. Is like, this is a Capricorn card, and the Four of Pentacles, let's look at it in the upright, is really about like holding on to and grounding on the material plane, right? So when I see this, and then sometimes like in the realm of finances, it could be, holding on really tight and, not wanting to, being really fearful of losing what you have. But it's a card of grounding. So in the reverse, this could go two ways, and it might, be a teeter-totter for some of you, or some of you might be on one end of the spectrum or the other. Take it how it applies, but some of you might be really open to spirit, and depending on what other, what else is in your chart, your energetic field might be very porous right now, and you need some grounding because you're not grounded. Or it could go the other way of like, you're so rooted, you're so grounded, and you're not really open to spirit, that you're not willing to open yourself up because, you're closing up your energetic field, not allowing, the universe to do its thing. So it could be both, or it could be one or the other, is really what I'm feeling is the challenge for you. But let me see if there's anything else. Okay. Let's hear. Daughter of Swords. Okay. So this is Page of Swords energy. What this is really telling me is that, you could be very logical, like taking things, from a more logical perspective rather than really opening up to a more spiritual perspective. That's what I'm getting from this reversal. But then again, different messages for different people. It is a general reading that You know, if your auric field is very, very porous, get something, you know, to protect yourself, like create a circle, visualize a, you know, a white light, or, you know, some kind of protective light, you know, enveloping your space. You know, call in guides for protection, because you don't want to, with the psychic abilities card, allow everything in, right? You just want to give an invitation to your ancestors who are in highest and best, your guides, your angels, the archangels who are in highest and best. Whatever you believe in, make sure that it serves your highest, because if you give a blanket invitation, you don't know what you're inviting in. So I just feel like it behooves me to say that. Okay, and feels like these just fell out. Okay, so the next card is how to tackle a challenge, take decisive action. So if those cards were meant to come out, they will come out again, but I don't think they were the ones. So how to tackle this challenge of the Four of Pentacles in reverse, where it feels like our energy is a little bit closed. Okay, the Three of Wands. Okay, so Wands are life force energy, their passion. Okay, I'm getting some of that sexual energy. Threes are a number that correspond with the Empress in the major arcana. So all the minor threes are like the little baby cards of the Empress. So that is very Venusian. You know, and threes have to do with creation and expansion. So like allowing that life force energy inside of you, like your passionate energy, to expand rather than trying to shut it down and close it off. You know, allow that to be the thing that, you know, kind of ignites from within. Do you see this Hermit with the lamp? Like, imagine that beacon, you know, almost being your sacral center that is, you know, a light, you know, a flame. And then as well, like thinking about the psychic abilities card, you know, your third eye could be lit up. But threes are, you know, a number of expansion and allowing and reception. So being open to receive, you know, powerful, directed, and realized, yet receptive, wise, and loving. All of those things are what you need to counteract this closed energy that you might experience during March. So the final card is where you Virgo may be by the end of the month. So let's take a look at that. Okay. You got two. Let me move these cards back. All right, you got the Hierophant and Strength. Okay, so this was our collective card last month, and you will be feeling very much more like your authentic self. I think of Leo, and Leo also got the sexual energy card as very, you know, sexy. Look at, she's wearing an orange heart. She's the infinity symbol. It's like a regeneration of that authentic, wild, you know, energy within yourself that you feel like you, you know, aren't afraid to show up fully embodied, you know, authentically. These dice, you know, you're showing up there, Virgo. It's like you're meant to show up and be seen, you know, show up and be counted. And then with this Hierophant card, didn't I say with this Authority card, it's like you might be teaching something or leading something, leading some kind of group, based on what you've already built and what you've already learned, that, you know, you might be part of, you know, a new social paradigm, you know, where you're breaking down the old based on, you know, this newfound wisdom and guidance from your guides. This also speaks to, you know, letting in, you know, source. It's, you know, in some tarot decks, the Hierophant is called the Pope. And whether you are of the Christian faith or not, you know, you can insert whatever higher, you know, spiritual teacher that means to you. But also, you know, divine guidance, you know, a teacher, a guru, a spiritual leader, but that could be you or someone else. Okay, so we're going to do now move our tarot cards out of the way. And you know what? I just want to pull one more clarifier, because when we get two majors, like, you know, you got 4 majors in this spread, I really like to pull a clarifier just to make sure. I mean, that's right, you got clarified with the High Priestess there. That's even more. Okay, the Hierophant is clarifying this. Like, yes, you are meant to be some sort of, you know, spiritual teacher, or like lead a group. And then what I'm seeing as well is just like being part of, you know, a social movement as well. Like, that's figuring really prominent. One more clarifier since we got the Hierophant to clarify the Hierophant. Okay, that's too many. That's just wild right there. Okay, let's see. One clarifier. Like this tarot deck said, I said what I said. Okay. Okay, so we got the 5 of Wands. So that really speaks to like being in a group, and there might be some conflicting, you know, opinions, ego battles, ways of seeing things. And yeah, with this Hierophant energy, it's almost like you have a sense of authority because of the wisdom that you've gained, you know, by building, you know, up your, you know, whatever it is that you've built. It's going to be different for each of you, but it's almost like you're being called to step up and lead, you know, from your authentic self, you know, authenticity, authority. Like, how similar are those words? But you know, because you can kind of see different perspectives from different people, and, you know, kind of be able to mediate that, meet in the middle, you know, but as well, you know, be a productive voice for how, you know, how people can, you know, I'm trying to really grasp onto. It's like, it has something to do with this 3 of Wands. It's like how they can really expand into the next phase of their life, expand into living their passion, because that's what it feels like you're doing. And you're doing it and you're really satisfied with where you are. But within any group, there tend to be factions, and, you know, people have their own opinions about the ways things should be. But I see that with this Hierophant, double Hierophant energy, it's like your voice is very powerful and people will listen to what you have to say, especially if you speak from a place, you know, that is heart-centered, that, you know, with this moon energy is like, you know, very clear on how you feel. You know, and with this Daughter of Swords here also, you know, clarifying this closed energy, it's also, you know, when I think of the Page of Swords, it's like somebody who is able to really talk to anybody, but speak clearly, and, you know, also listen to understand. Because you know how some people can, you know, just talk over people. It's like you genuinely want to understand where people are coming from and then meet them where they're at. So that's something that I'm seeing here. So I'm going to move my tarot decks aside, and we're going to pull some more oracle cards that will give us some more information about the month of March for you, Virgo. And there we go. What are you waiting for? Okay, so it's like the time is now for this energy to be developing. So don't shut down your energy. Definitely stay open to spirit. You know, get your sacral active. Like, look at ways to do that. You know, Google is free. So, you know, really, if you're feeling that sense of like, I don't feel, you know, creative, or I don't feel sexy, if that's something that you want to bring into your life, or, you know, I'm just not feeling on, like I'm shining, because Leo, you know, this Leo energy, you want to shine by the end of the month. Activating your sacral, really getting in touch with, you know, your sacred sexuality could make all the difference in the way that you move through the world. Okay, and we got inhale, exhale. Okay, that's taking some mindful breaths, really, you know, getting in tune with your energy centers. And it's not a competition. Okay, and that's what I was getting with this Five of Wands. You might be dealing with some really, you know, competitive people, or, you know, different voices who really want to be heard, and some of that might be directed at you. You know, it may not all be directed at you, but it might be some things that you have to mediate. But just reminding yourself that you have authority over yourself. You don't need to compete with anyone, okay? That is really, really a strong message that's coming through. So the next card that we're gonna pull is just one more oracle for advice for the month. Okay. And I think Leo also got this card, effervescence, cultivate love, and you got the moon. You've got some Venus energy here, Venus in Virgo. I'm gonna pull one more of these just to see if anything different comes out. Yeah, so when you speak from a place of love, and I don't think that that will be a hard thing for you to do, Virgo. Okay, here we go. Okay, you got card 22, master number. Honor your mystical creative force. Okay, yes, honor your creative force. Sexual energy is creator energy, and, you know, mystical. You're getting high priestess energy. You're giving psychic abilities. You're giving temperance. Like, you've got all of this around you, so honor it. Don't close off your energy like this Four of Pentacles in reverse. Like, be open to it. Loving that for you. Okay, so I'm gonna pull some botanical oracle cards, or these are essential oracle cards, but they have some ways to reframe certain thoughts and statements. So I'd like to pull two of these, 2 or 3. We'll see how many come out. Some messages for Virgo. Okay, we got, let me hope I don't butcher that, arborvitae, flow, trigger statement. Why are things such a struggle? True statement, I am in the flow. Okay, 4 of Pentacles, I'm really getting that. Take a deep breath. Excuse me. Take a breath, dear one, and allow yourself to feel the flow of life through you. Release your need to do and just be. Okay, take a breath. Inhale, exhale. Love that. Okay, let's get one more. Okay, and okay, we got will. Ginger, trigger statement, I am a victim. True statement, I am powerful beyond measure. You are strong and capable. With gratitude, optimism, and action, manifest the life you desire. Okay, love that. You are strong and capable. What did I say about the frequency of authority? Powerful, directed, and realized. Like, you're more powerful than you think you are. And will, you know, really speaks to the strength energy, because the motto for Leo is I will, you know, so really channeling your authenticity is, you know, putting those thoughts, replacing them, you know, of if you think life is happening to you, or you've been in a place where life has happened to you, reframing, you know, those thoughts with the ways that you have overcome shit that life has thrown at you, and you've survived. And that's very powerful. So the last cards that we're going to pull are 3 self-care cards that Spirit would like you to focus on for the month of March. And the first one we got is tidy up. Okay. And Virgo, I don't really think that's an issue for you. But that's just saying, you know, just keep it tidy, you know, maybe organize your, you know, your space. That way you can be in flow if things feel like a struggle. I know, you know, we're not always in our best, you know, so yeah, making sure that, you know, your workspace, if you're in an online group, like you have an inviting, you know, like computer space or what have you, it might make all the difference in your energy, and it might affect the way that you communicate. So yeah, let's see, let's get 2 more for Virgo. All right, cafe. All right, so that might mean, getting out for a little while and going to a cafe, or, energizing yourself, with some coffee. If you don't drink coffee, some other, what ways can, what do you imbibe that kind of gives you that sense of energy? Yeah, but that is something where maybe getting out, for a little bit and sitting in another environment. Maybe if you're doing an online group and you have a laptop or your iPad or whatever, going to a place that puts you in that vibe, of, wanting to connect. Safely and masked up, obviously. Okay. That's too many, but we got create. Okay, so 3 of Wands, we're expanding that life force, creator energy. So what kind of project can you work on that really lights up your, your centers? What kind of, keep the flame burning, and maybe create a sacred space for yourself, where you can communicate with your guides, where you go to communicate. Maybe that's where the tidying up comes in, just, moving things around to give yourself like a little bit of a pocket or corner wherever you live, that, is a space for communion with your higher self, with your guides. So that looks really great, Virgo. And that's all I'm seeing for you for this month. So make sure to comment letting me know what resonated for you. And if you feel comfortable, I would really love for you guys to comment on each other's posts as well. Kind of create a community. I would love to make this a true, family. And for you guys, that's especially important with this 11th house energy this month. So I want to thank you so much for your presence, for your time and your energy. That's truly where the magic happens. And thank you to all the collective guides and angels for these wonderful messages. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel with folks who could benefit from the messages. And while you're at it, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Stay safe, be gentle with yourselves, and I will see you again next month, okay? Bye, Virgo.